for joining us here for Crossroads Politics here on WTHR+. I'm Samantha Johnson, in for Emily Longnecker and Dustin Grove. This week, we learned Indiana's special session to consider redrawing the state's congressional districts is instead going to be an early meeting of the 2026 legislative session. But opponents of redistricting aren't letting up on the pressure to shut it down. A rally called Democracy Doesn't Get Redrawn was organized by the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus at the Statehouse on Monday. The message was really a call to action for Hoosier voters to get involved and stay involved in the fight against redistricting. 13 News Statehouse reporter Emily Longnecker was there.
Let us defend the integrity of our state and send a resounding message. Indiana is not for sale.
Speakers at Monday's rally told those gathered Hoosiers were struggling with real issues like the high cost of utilities and health care, not what the boundaries of the state's congressional districts look like.
Where did this idea come from? I don't remember your neighbors or my neighbors or even folks in our General Assembly saying, we want to redistrict. We did that a few years ago.
For Joseph Plummer of Indianapolis, who attended the rally, he's against what he sees as interference from the federal government in Indiana's business.
We just like to be left alone. Just let us be what we are.
Amidst the speeches, a call to action for those gathered.
They are attempting to silence our voices, and we must fight back.
20,000 Hoosier voters have signed a petition against redistricting, and recent polls have shown a majority of Hoosiers are against it. Right now, Republicans hold 7 of Indiana's 9 congressional seats. Democrats have the other 2. Those gathered applauded lawmakers, specifically Republicans, who've been vocal about their opposition to redistricting. Their message to them: stand strong.
Now, after that rally, lawmakers with the IBLC gave Emily their reactions. Democratic State Representative Cherish Pryor said in the last presidential election, 40% of Hoosiers voted Democratic. Pryor said redistricting to try and have 9 Republican congressional seats would take away the voice and representation of those Hoosiers.
You don't want us to have a person that represents us, that cares about the issues that we care about, so you can force on us the issues that are important to you by taking away what little we do have. It's just unfortunate, and it's very disappointing that we're at this stage where people are putting their political careers and their priorities of putting partisanship first over what's in the best interest of the people.
IBLC Chairman Democratic State Representative Earl Harris questioned how much money will have to be spent to educate voters if the maps do change.
What is this going to mean in terms of redrawing maps, getting information out, informing voters you're no longer in Congressional District 1, you're in 2, or vice versa? There's a long line of things that are going to cost taxpayer dollars if this decision comes down and if we actually do redistricting.
Democratic State Senator Greg Porter said he plans to file other bills he hopes will be considered when lawmakers do meet come December.
I think it's an opportunity for us to address, while most people want to focus on redistricting and think that's the important factor, I think we need to focus on a lot of other things like Senate Bill 1 and the high cost of groceries and everything like that. I think it's an opportunity for legislators to step up and do something different.
Now, later in the week, Emily spoke with Democratic State Representative Ed Delaney, who told us he had doubts a vote on redistricting would even happen when lawmakers gathered.
The public doesn't want it. And the point is that Republican legislators don't want this. If they did, they would have done it 2 months ago when they started this conversation. So I think the chances are that are less that we'll have a redistricting vote.
Now, lawmakers also expressed concerns about the dates chosen for them to come in during those first 2 weeks of December. Many said they had already planned to attend a conference, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, which they say now they will not be attending. Meanwhile, one supporter of redistricting is dealing firsthand with what some of those impacts could be. He's running for Congress, and Emily Longnecker followed him on the campaign trail as he tries to navigate a changing political map.
If you didn't already know, Indiana State Representative Craig Haggard is running for Congress.
He will after he steps out of this van, covered in his name and the web address of his campaign site. Thursday, Haggard's campaign trail ran through Frankfort in Clinton County during the morning time breakfast rush at the Vintage Cafe.
I'm a small town, local guy raised on a farm.
Haggard was there to talk to potential voters and supporters about why he's running for Congress in Indiana's 4th congressional district. The visit not unlike the hundreds he's already made across 16 counties since he says he was asked to run 2 years ago.
It's in areas that I thought I should know. I should know the people, they should know me, they shouldn't just get a brochure that says, hey, I'm awesome, vote for me. I wanted to really know them and know the areas.
But with the call coming from the president himself for Indiana lawmakers to draw new congressional district boundaries, the congressional seat Haggard ends up running for in 2026 may not be the same one he's been campaigning to win now. Currently, the 4th district seat is held by Republican Congressman Jim Baird.
I don't know that the number will be the same, but whatever district encompasses the majority of what I've been working for 2 years is probably where I'm going to run.
Haggard admits changing districts would be challenging. Still, he supports the call to redraw the map of Indiana's congressional districts mid-decade.
It's become a national battle that I think is bigger than Indiana. It's more of a country thing, but it really could make me have to scrap everything and start over again. But I still think it's important.
It really does impact nearly everything in terms of the campaign when the district itself isn't what you thought it was going to be.
UIndy political science professor Dr. Laura Merrifield Wilson says Haggard won't be the only candidate having to adjust should Indiana lawmakers decide to redraw the maps.
They might have to change their entire approach. Minimally, they'll have to change some of their calculus and their outreach.
Even so, Haggard says he's not going to stop doing what he's doing now, running for Congress.
In life in general, things go not the way you plan them to go. And if I can't handle this, then I shouldn't be in Congress.
In Clinton County, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Still ahead, a big election night across America that could be a preview of the 2026 midterms. The results shaping the political future, next on Crossroads Politics. Welcome back. Tuesday was a big election night across our nation, with races seen as a referendum on President Trump and the adjustments Democrats have made. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell has the latest details from Washington.
A clean sweep for Democrats across Tuesday's high-profile elections. Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill will become the next governor of New Jersey. And in Virginia, Democrats won all 3 top statewide positions, with Abigail Spanberger becoming the first woman to lead the Commonwealth. In New York City, Zohran Mamdani scored a decisive victory over a former governor in the mayoral race. President Trump did his own assessment of his party's losses.
I don't think it was good for Republicans. They say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor.
Voters' choices come 1 year after Mr. Trump's own election, and politically the results can be seen as a referendum on the president's policies, with voters describing the economy and the rising cost of almost everything as their main motivation.
Taxes, inflation, cost of living.
But the president, hosting Republican senators today, blames the losses on the government shutdown and Democrats.
And it is Democrat created, but I don't think they're getting really the blame that they should.
The shutdown now 36 days and an unwanted record.
Americans realize Republicans are responsible for this awful shutdown, now the longest officially in history. What a shameless milestone.
But now some lawmakers say they are more hopeful the government could reopen soon.
I feel very confident.
That could bring needed relief to hundreds of thousands of furloughed federal workers and those required to work without pay.
Congress is still getting paid, the House is, everybody's still getting paid except for the people showing up and doing all the work.
That was Kelly O'Donnell reporting. Next on Crossroads Politics, reforming Indiana's foster system. Dustin Grove sits down with an activist who thinks partnering with community and faith organizations could lead to better results. And still ahead, helping hungry Hoosiers. With SNAP benefits still held up in Washington, a plan to use local funds to meet the need right here in central Indiana. That's coming up.
All the focus at the Statehouse right now seems to be on the debate over congressional redistricting, but we are just weeks away from a new legislative session where lawmakers will be trying to tackle dozens of bills, and one group is hoping that includes improving Indiana's foster care system. Berjan Crispin is a public policy expert and deputy director of the nonprofit Good Citizen Project. Thank you so much for being here.
Dustin, it's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
So you met with House Speaker Todd Huston about this earlier this month. This is very close to your heart. There are more than 18,000 kids right now in foster care throughout the state of Indiana. What is it that you think needs to change about the system?
I think we need to address how we look at the foster care system differently. I think solely it's been government working to fix the problem instead of government and churches and nonprofits working together to address this serious issue. And so I think from a legislative standpoint and from a nonprofit standpoint, from a community engagement standpoint, if we can all work together, I think some great ground can be accomplished. That's what we're working to do at the Good Citizen Project. It's a national initiative partnering with Indiana Family Institute, working to protect religious liberty issues, things like that, and working really to uphold the family as a nuclear unit of society. And if we take care of the children in a better way, and provide good housing for them, and we come alongside them as individuals and reinstill dignity to them, I think we can. I think we can do some great things.
So tangibly, what might that look like from a legislative perspective, you think?
Sure. So the Good Citizen Project has started to work with the Department of Child Services here in the state of Indiana, and this is the first time that Governor Braun has actually asked for our help in a long time. He's asked for the church's help. And so what we're doing is we've identified the top 10 worst hit counties across the state in terms of CHINS cases, so children in need of services. And we're going around to each of those counties and we're saying when the Department of Child Services comes in and works alongside churches and nonprofits, can we see those CHINS cases drastically reduce? And so from the legislative standpoint, working on a bill right now, a model bill to protect individuals that want to foster care and want to adopt and things along those lines that are faith-based, and we want to make sure there's no restrictions on them whatsoever to put parents really in the best position to succeed in that area.
And so what about the argument of the separation between church and state? I'm sure you've heard that from critics before.
I have, and Dustin, we could get into a long conversation about the issue of separation of church and state, but really, this is not us working against each other. This is us working together while still doing what we're designed to do. So the legislative branch and government working on legislation to uplift Hoosiers, but also the nonprofit and churches working together to uplift communities. And we all have our different strengths and weaknesses, and we know that our strengths are working on the ground while leveraging our relationships with our legislators. The Good Citizen Project and the Church Ambassador Network with Indiana Family Institute has made over 1,200 connections with legislators over the past legislative session. We met with 90% of Democrats and 90% of Republicans. So we're working across state lines to make sure that we're working on those key issues together.
And so do you think that when it comes to foster care, that everybody's doing what they believe is the best? You've got the foster care system, the government here, you've got faith-based organizations and churches over here. Is what you're saying that everybody's kind of working in silos and you think they need to work more together collaboratively?
That's exactly right. We found out that people don't like to work together. They want to put their own name on something, and we found that pride and egos can get in the way of really helping the least of these in our communities. And so we have been working in silos, but the Good Citizen Project, Indiana Family Institute, the Church Ambassador Network is really working to change that narrative and get pastors to actually work together, get them to integrate with their community organizations better, and to show that if we work together, we can truly do some incredible things. It just takes putting our egos aside and putting the children at the utmost center of what we want to do.
And if you could wave a magic wand and go into one of these counties where there are a lot of cases of children in need of service, what would you change specifically? How do you think your organization or churches or other groups could work collectively to do something?
There's a couple of different things that we're working on. One of those counties is Madison County. My hometown of Anderson is one of the hardest hit counties in the state, and the city itself. So one of the things that we're working on is to provide counseling and care for DCS workers. They're often swept under the rug. They're often the forgotten men and women who are laboring on the ground, doing some really difficult things. And a lot of people don't want to touch that arena. And so we're coming alongside them, just letting them know that we're there, we care for them, bringing them food, things like that, simple things that really let them know that they're cared for. And then another way, we're working to try and help those people in Madison County and Anderson. And if I could wave a wand, it would be to provide better resources for infrastructure to build centers for these kids. There's a lot of abandoned buildings, infrastructure in Madison County and Anderson that are just left, and no one is using them. So if we could repurpose, work together through private funding, maybe through a grant from the state, something like that, we could turn these places into centers for kids to have a place to thrive, a safe place to put their head down at night. There are so many instances, Dustin, where kids don't have a place to go at night, or they're in transition, or they're being shipped to a different county. Well, they'll actually spend a night or 2 or 3 in the DCS offices, and we want every kid to have a place to stay. And so those are a couple of things that we're working on, but really it's getting everyone to the table, working together, and making sure that we're keeping the main thing.
All right. Birjan Crispin, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll follow up with you throughout the session.
Thank you.
All right.
Dustin, thank you. Still ahead on Crossroads Politics, as the government shutdown continues, SNAP benefits hang in the balance. As the White House battles the courts over funding, a local lawmaker has a plan to help Hoosiers in the meantime. Welcome back. 600,000 Hoosiers were supposed to receive their November SNAP benefits starting Wednesday, but that money isn't available because of this ongoing government shutdown. And now one Democratic state representative is asking trustees in townships to help fill that gap. State Representative Ed Delaney says Indiana's townships have rainy day funds they could use to help SNAP recipients who live there. According to Delaney, the Indiana Township Association says there is a legal basis for township trustees to help with food assistance in emergencies, like a disruption of federal benefits, for example. Delaney says he's looked at the numbers submitted to the state every year by the township trustees. He says many of them have money that can help.
This is the moment of truth for the township trustees. They still have many problems, even if they do this. But if they don't do this, it'll show an indifference to the community that is truly shocking.
Now, Delaney says trustees have really 2 options. They could either write a check to food banks in their township to help people who have lost SNAP benefits, or they can write checks directly to the people who were supposed to receive those benefits. State Representative Greg Porter says the state should also do more to help.
Everyone understands how important this is, but this governor is just being extremely obstinate when it comes to feeding people in the state of Indiana. And when you have all these people out here that need it, what are you going to do when things start going awry? You're going to turn your head and go back down to your utopia of the world. It's wrong. It's just dead wrong.
So for now, some township trustees say they are ready and willing to act and to help, and that includes Pike Township here in Indianapolis, where Annette Johnson serves as trustee. She joins us on set. Thank you so much for being here to kind of help us break down how this all works. So let's start with just kind of a basic understanding. Explain to us a little bit about townships here in Indiana and what that process looks like.
All right, thank you so much for this opportunity. As you know, in Marion County, we have 9 townships, so 9 trustees, and our focus and our role in the communities is to provide emergency assistance to any of our residents that are in need.
Yeah. While we were talking a little bit about Ed Delaney and his proposal, I could see you nodding, right?
Yes.
So kind of walk us through how you personally plan to step in and help, specifically in Pike Township.
Well, as State Representative Ed Delaney has shared, it is, I would say, a duty of trustees to step in Again, this is an emergency situation, and that's how I will, put it forth. This is an emergency. Individuals are needing help. They're needing food, and so I'm very well prepared. We're ready to do what we need to do to make sure that we take care of the residents that I serve in Pike Township. Now, with Pike Township, my particular trustee's office, I went a little further beyond that. I actually have a on-site food pantry that I started about 5-6 years ago when I became the trustee. I thought the need was there then. So can you imagine, this is a vision I had 6 years ago, and now we fast forward and there is a need for this. And so I get to help in two folds. I have a on-site food pantry. Individuals come up throughout the week and, help themselves to what they need. And then I'm also able to make sure that I provide food vouchers for individuals that will be asking for assistance.
Yeah. You mentioned you started that about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
We saw a lot of people step up during COVID, during the pandemic,
yes.
and that need certainly has not gone away. And you're a
Exactly.
testimony of that. Let me ask you this real quick. What about to other trustees, specifically here in Marion County? What would you say to them?
Again, we need to just do what we need to do to help the individuals that we are serving, because again, we're there to serve individuals in an emergency situation, and I deem this as an emergency. I know other trustees, I've had so many conversations with them this past week because we're all trying to figure out that we're on the same accord, and a lot of them do write checks to food pantries that are in their areas as well. That's something that I can do as well, but again, I think I'm able to take care of these individuals in two areas. One, having my on-site food pantry, and I want to thank lots of residents and organizations that have donated throughout the year so that I can have this food pantry. And then we have money set aside in my budget where I go shopping, every now and then, and go out and buy things to kind of restock it. So again, I think this is a good opportunity for me. I'm able to have the on-site food pantry and then be ready to provide those food vouchers to individuals once they come up.
Yeah. What are you hearing from your constituents right now?
Just concern. That's mostly what I'm hearing. A lot of concern. I've had individuals call the office already, just asking what do they need to do if they come across that particular situation where they need some more food to kind of, save out the rest of the week and so forth. And so we are getting phone calls. I live in my community, I serve in my community, and I'm out there in it. And so I see people, they come up to me, trustee, you're going to be helping, correct? The beauty of it is that individuals in the community are willing to step up, and getting phone calls even from organizations and groups. Just this week, I got a call from Robin Run Senior Living Retirement Home, and they have individuals that are retired, but individuals that still want to do things. And they were like, trustee, we have started our food pantry drive for you. So they do that all the month of November, and then what they collect, they make sure that is dropped off to the trustee's office. So that's what I'm hearing, concern. Just want to make sure I'm there. People say, you're going to be doing something, correct? And we can call you. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. We're getting closer to the holidays now, too.
Exactly.
As we wrap up, what's your message to those constituents of continuing the hope?
I just think you do have you have trustees that are in your communities that are there to provide in emergency situations. They're there. We're here to help, and whatever it is that we have to do, best believe that the trustees are there to do what they need to do to help everybody.
Trustee Annette Johnson out of Pike Township.
Thank you
for the work that you're doing. Thanks
Thank
for joining us here on Crossroads Politics. And that will do it for this week's edition of our conversation. We appreciate you being here. For Emily Longnecker and Dustin Grove, and for all of us here at 13 News, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.